Hello everyone, this is PGO Milncraft for Game 2 between Select and Thorzain. This is from MLG Columbus, as I previously stated, and if you haven't watched the previous game, it was in fact, well actually, I'm not going to go ahead and spoil that, because I'm hoping that these games are not being done out of order, but it's possible that they're being done out of order, in which case I'm going to upload them in the correct order, so I'm not going to spoil it no matter which direction that we go. Now, I would like to talk about a couple of things. The first is that I've been advertising the website, Pro Gaming Leagues. It's not actually active yet. By the time this video is going to be uploaded, it's not going to be active. It will be active in a couple of weeks, though, so I definitely encourage you to go check it out. It's going to be in all my video descriptions. I'm putting it in all of my videos, and my name is PGL StarCraft for Pro Gaming Leagues, just to encourage people to go to be able to check it out and to just keep it in the thoughts. I mean, like, part of the reason I created this account was to be able to promote the website. I thought it'd be a really good idea that we could do commentary. We can allow, I mean, it's a website in which we can explore all of the world of StarCraft, which means you can just battle your friends, or you can kind of create rivalries across the internet. This allows, like, a place in which people are able to, meet people to be able to play. It's not just random people on the ladder. It's people who you can actually, like, develop real rivalries with and real friendships with, talk about the game, and really enjoy that sort of thing. And commentary is definitely a big part of that, which is why I'm bringing this commentary to you guys. And, of course, my love for StarCraft in general. This game is terrific. I've never been so obsessed with the game. Most of the time I become just like really obsessed with the game. Like Civilization 4, I pulled multiple all-nighters just playing that game all night. And you know what, it's a terrific game, but no game has enthralled me to the level of StarCraft. I actually watch StarCraft constantly. I watch the GSL, I watch Nassel.tv, I watch, any YouTube clips, I watch Husky, I watch HD StarCraft, just tons and tons of different kinds of videos, and, I just think it's just so incredibly interesting. Before we go too far, let me talk about the map a little bit, just to make sure we're up to speed. This map is Metalopolis, very standard map. It's been in here since the beginning, everyone's enjoyed it. I hope that SUV gets out of here real quick, otherwise you'll be taking a fistful of bullets. Yep, he's scooting out of there. Metalopolis is a very standard map. It's very much a staple, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. It was taken off the ladder pool, actually, for a little while, but then Blizzard decided that people enjoyed it enough that they decided to bring it back. Kind of an odd wall here that we see from Thorzain. It looks like he's going to be a 3 supply depot wall, I guess, so people can't just run in and out. I guess, if you're going for Hellions, which Thorzain was defeated by in the last game, it makes sense to wall off your front to stop Hellions from being able to run in and just kind of shoot at your SCVs at will, when you're out doing microwing or not paying attention to something else. Now we see Select here does not have a gas, so he's just getting a late gas, which means he's going for an early command center, which is probably going to be starting right now. So he's going for a super early fast expand. Meanwhile, we see Thorzain seems to be saving up minerals, but it's possible he's just going to go with a starport build as well. We're going to have to see in a little bit what he's doing. He's doing a reactor again, so this might be reactored Hellions. In fact, if I was going to take a guess, I think Thorzain is going for reactored Hellions at this point. And it looks like he's probably going to give the expansion center. Yep, there's the expansion center. Yeah, the command center, which of course is an expansion. I like the expansion center, though. That sounds like some sort of mall outlet, like, oh, I want to go to the expansion center and be able to pick up some clothes or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong about that. They are close positions on this map, though, as you can see, and we see a factory. So these builds are actually almost mirror builds. The only difference is that Thorzain decided to get the factory first, and Select tried to get the command center first. So it's a slight difference, not terribly different, though. You should probably sync that supply depot, though it's not doing too much blocking. He also, that's actually not the most efficient way that he can put units on. Yep, there you go. If you have 2 refineries, it's actually more efficient to have 2 SCVs on each refinery than it is to have 3 on one and 1 on the other, because the third SCV gets blocked just for a little bit of time, and so it's a little bit slower. So if you're not using full gas, then it's a good idea to split your SCVs 2-2 and not to do a 3-1 split. Of course, he just hadn't realized that the refinery had finished, and he put 2 more on. So that's what Select's doing right here. And we see the factory getting a tech lab, completely standard. I think he's probably going to be going siege tanks. Starport as well coming down. It's possibly going to be going for Blue Flame Hellions. It'd be a little late for Blue Flame Hellions, although he has the perfect amount of gas for it. So it's entirely possible that this is what his plan is. He might try to drop it. I will say that they are in close positions here. Look at that difference. You can actually see both buildings at the same time, although, they can't. Well, actually, he does have a vision of that. Oh, he just scanned them. Very nice scan, able to see the entirety of it, able to see that there's Banshees, that they're not quite developing Cloak yet, so they just have to be too concerned about that. And just able to get a general idea of what his opponent's doing. He's not going to go for an super early tank push or anything like that. I'm going to put it on production just to make sure that we can keep up with what they're building and what they're doing. We see Select being really smart here with that SCV out. It gives him vision all the way up to here. That gives him a long time to prepare. We see the Banshee moving in now, taking a lot of damage. Actually, he's probably playing around with that just a little bit too much. He probably should have gotten straight into the back for the SCVs. Probably could have gotten a couple of SCV kills instead of just one Marine kill, which is up. SCV kills are more important because you don't just lose the SCV like you do with Marines. You actually lose the build time, mining time as well as you rebuild them. And on top of that, he's probably constantly building SCVs anyway, so he's never really going to catch up. So he's going to be one SCV behind until he finally rebuilds all the SCVs and, you know, fully saturates his 2 expansions or 3 expansions, however many he has at that time. Now we see a medevac, an empty medevac, that actually might get picked off by a Viking there if he's not careful. Oh, nope. Able to save it with the Marines. And so he's going to do a little bit of a push off here. As soon as he takes that blast from the siege tank, though, that's probably going to stop. And, oh, there you go. And second shot. Nope. If he had the Viking spotting, he'd be able to hit on the outer ring, but because siege tanks can only see 11 and shoot 13, is that right? Yes, see 11 and shoot 13. He wasn't quite able to see as far and wasn't able to hit all of the Marines. Otherwise, he would have gotten a couple of shots on those Marines. As it was, he did a lot of damage, and it's probably going to drain this medevac of most of its energy. I don't see this attack doing too much damage. I think it's relatively poorly conceived. These Marines are not going to be able to... You can't even stim. If you can't stim, you can't run up and try to shoot the siege tanks. He just needs to circle around and back off. Get out of there, Thorzain. Those Swedes, they're always, you know, attacking places they shouldn't be attacking. Well, I don't even know. What I will say, though, is that I've been to Denmark. I actually studied abroad in Denmark, and the Danish people are so hilarious because they've got this huge rivalry with the Swedes. And so when you go into a castle in Denmark, for example, you see all the stolen Swedish stuff, and they say, like, oh, they got our stolen stuff, too. And so it's just kind of funny how they're going to be able to do that. You see it's Select grabbing the watchtower here. The other thing about the, grabbing the watch here, as I said, it's a good move. It allows him to keep track on the army, and especially here, the army's going to walk right across the tower, so he's going to make sure he's not going to be, going around and being able to. Well, actually, he's not going to be able to see that army probably until he gets to here. Back onto the point about the Swedish people, the Danes actually have a saying about the Swedes, which is that they say, I'd rather live 50 years as a Dane than 60 years as a Swede. And the reason they say that is actually because, and that Marine's going to die, it's because Danes smoke and drink a lot more than Swedes do. And so they say, well, they're going to live for a shorter life, but they're going to make it much more enjoyable. And I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed visiting Sweden. I was only able to visit Western Sweden someday. I hope to go to Stockholm. That'd be really nice. It's a very nice place. But let's go back to the game at hand. We see both players primarily just massing. This is actually entire contrast to the last game. As I talked about at the very beginning of last game, when I was like, oh yeah, the reason I like Terran versus Terran is because, oh, look at all those SCVs with the little party there. Oh, they're waving their drills around and somehow fixing the aircraft above them. But the reason I said that is because a lot of Terran games come down to like where you set up your siege tanks and you have to try to figure out ways to get around their siege tanks and better establish your position, and that was kind of a wasted stim. But the last game, it was entirely about harassment and about just dealing damage early, and especially in a Terran versus Terran, random attacks can deal a lot of damage, in which, they just happen to be teching up into, cloaked Banshees or something, and you go straight for siege tanks, you can deal a lot of damage. In that case, it was just because he didn't have enough Marines, and he didn't have a finished... Oh, that poor wolf statue is about to be going down. Oh, no, it's just a misclick. The wolf statue gets to live with only a couple of tank shots got in against it. Thorzain's got to be a little careful with his Viking. I want to make sure not to lose that. That's important for being able to spot for the siege tanks so they can see the end. Oh, and we see actually the outflanking force is talking about positioning. Thorzain's moving around. He's able to get Select to get out of his previous position, and a perfect scan is going to be able to reveal exactly where that army is. And he's just got to scan up here as well to make sure that no army's going up here. And the siege tanks are now set up. Thorzain's just going to scoot around that army, though. That's interesting. Is he going to move in? This is not a very good position. He does not want to fight in this position. Nope, this is a very poor idea. It might not end up mattering, though, because because Select decided to leave his siege tanks behind, so actually